Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Probably not too surprising, I'm back with some more Minecraft hacked videos. As you can see, I'm standing here on my fishing hut that I've been using with the autofish mod we created last video. I spent quite some time here just farming levels and items. Also in the last video we created a fly hack which was awesome, but today I'm going to show you another project I've been working on the last couple of days. For that, let's fly back up to base and prepare some tools. As you saw in the intro, with these Minecraft Let's Play videos, I like to play with the Minecraft YouTuber stereotypes. And for this video, I spent way too much time copying the intro from ilmango. He is an amazing SciCraft YouTuber. I love watching and listening to people who analyze the behavior of a system, who develop a really deep understanding about the internals, and then they use that to build amazing technical solutions. For me, this is the textbook definition of hacking. And so I really appreciate him and the larger SciCraft community for sharing their thought processes and ideas with the world. Anyway, I wanted to tell you about the cool thing I built since the last video, and here it is. XRay. I updated my hack mod with an XRay option. Like before, I also looked at existing XRay mods. In this case, I saw that one mod used a block class mixin overwriting the shouldRenderFace method. This method returns true or false if the sides of a block should be rendered or not. I had to adapt it. In my Minecraft version, this function was apparently renamed to shouldDrawSide, and I also used a different injection method and overwrote the return value using the mixin callback info returnable feature, but it doesn't matter. In the XRay mod, I defined a list of blocks that I want to render when it's active, so all other blocks are ignored. After some testing and playing around and increasing brightness and lightning and all that kind of stuff, this is the result. Pressing a hotkey, I can turn XRay on or off, and I see all the ores underground. So let's use our flying hack and the XRay feature to go mining. I want more diamonds, more iron, more coal. I want to fill up my chests. I have big plans. First of all, I want to get enchantments going. I really want a silk touch pickaxe, but also fortune would be great to get more diamond drops. I really want to build some nice structures around the base, and for that I need materials, including lots of stones. And so having silk touch would be really nice. After the first quick mining journey, I got enough diamonds and I can fly back to base to replace my iron tools with diamond tools and even craft a first diamond armor. But we need more. We also need levels for the enchantments. So cleaning up the inventory and let's go for a second round. But before I go more mining, I want to collect some other materials. So I flew over to the woodland mansion because right next to it was a lush cave. Getting some of the moss blocks would be really nice for decoration later. Also, there were super cute axolotls around. Maybe I get them later. After collecting enough of that, I wanted to get some other wood types. Specifically, I'm looking for dark oak and spruce logs. Those look really nice. Because we have a woodland mansion, there are lots of dark oak trees nearby, so getting a few of those. After cutting some of them down, I continue my journey looking for spruce trees. This took a bit of time to find, and I'm not sure if I find my way back, but finally I found some and spent some time cutting them down as well. On my way back, I flew by the woodland mansion again and decided to check it out. Thanks to XRay, we can easily see the different types of rooms. And I didn't know that there are rooms full of chests. I got really excited to loot them, but got disappointed. Turns out they are all empty. But with the XRay mod, I also saw bookshelves, and we need books for the enchantment table later. So I decided to go into the mansion Mission Impossible style to get those. Then we can go back for some more mining. With the diamond pickaxe, we already have a small speed up and we can get the remaining levels we need for the enchantments. Anyway, sometime later, returning back with a full inventory, it's time to get magical. Using the dripstone lava farm, I got a small lava lake going, which we can turn into obsidian with some water. With that, we can craft an enchantment table, and with the books from the mansion, we also get enough bookshelves. So let's enchant our first pickaxe. Let's see what we get. Unbreaking 3, that's promising. And efficiency 4, fortune 2, and unbreaking. That's pretty solid. No mending, but we don't have an experience farm yet anyway, and that's still super helpful for mining. Though I would have liked to have a silk touch pickaxe as well. It took multiple crafting attempts and using up more of the experience, but I finally had the option for a silk touch. Unfortunately, not enough experience left, so I'm using the new diamond pickaxe. Let's hunt for more ores to gather more experience. It took a bit, but here we go. I can finally craft the silk touch pickaxe. And with that, let's go more mining. I really want some regular stone for some upcoming building projects. And while I continue mining, I want to take some time to talk about something that happened a few weeks or months ago, and that is the account migration from Mojang accounts to Microsoft accounts. This is very annoying, but I'm coming from an IT security perspective, and besides all the good reasons why it sucks, it does have, in my opinion, significant security implications, and that's why I wanted to shine a light on that side as well. So from a security perspective, what's the difference? Generally, Mojang accounts were the most basic old school login you could ever imagine. Username and password, that's it, simple. This makes it very useful for scripting and botting. Like with anything, there are two sides for this. It's great for a fun project where you scan Minecraft servers or develop a fun bot doing something, but it can be super easily abused. It's very easy to abuse it for spamming and advertisement. You can have bots automatically joining servers and advertising scams or other shady business stuff. And that's just the reality. If it's easy to write code for a bot, there will be lots of bots, oftentimes doing shady stuff. And to make matters worse, it was super easy to find or buy Mojang account credentials. Because of the simplicity of the login, you can just take your basic hacked database from some other website and try the login credentials on Mojang accounts. Many users reuse the same passwords, so it's extremely easy to just go through a list and see if they are valid login credentials. That's how so many hacked accounts land on the black market. Of course, most of them are not used anymore by the original buyer. They bought Minecraft and stopped playing, so most people probably never noticed that their account got compromised, but these accounts are really useful to be used on servers like Hypixel, where you could get banned a lot. Using these basically throwaway accounts makes it so easy to cheat and hack on these servers. And this is definitely a concern for big servers like Hypixel. And now maybe you wonder how that is different to Microsoft accounts. Is a Microsoft account not also just a username and password, basically the same? No. On the surface, for a regular user it might seem that way, but that is not the case at all. Logins for services like Microsoft, Facebook, Google, they are not that simple. When you hit that login button, they don't just look at your credentials. They look at the IP you're coming from. Is it your home IP or a VPN? Does the IP log into a handful of accounts, typical for a family, or are there hundreds of logins from the same IP? Do you usually log in from Germany and suddenly you use an US IP? They can also check if you were logged into the account from the same browser before. The old session cookies maybe are still there. They are not valid anymore, so you have to log in. But they know this old cookie was a valid cookie in the past, so that's useful information to know. Do you come from a laptop or a mobile phone? How fast and often do you try to log in? And then on top of that come all the additional account protections with two-factor authentication, verifying your email address, requiring a phone number. That means when you hit that login button, all of these signals are then somehow wired together with machine learning to calculate a trust score, letting you in or not, maybe requiring additional verification or a CAPTCHA. Of course, I don't know for sure what Microsoft is exactly doing, that's probably a secret, but from my experience, I'm like 99% sure that that is happening. And so as a regular user, logging in from the same PC all the time, it feels smooth and easy, but as soon as you start automating, scripting and botting, you face additional challenges. On top of that, with the account migration itself, going from Mojang to Microsoft, for this process you had to verify access to your email. This was annoying and many lost their accounts because they had no access to the email anymore. But from a security perspective, in one big sweep, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of hacked Mojang account credentials became worthless overnight. They are not usable anymore. Selling accounts, of course, is still possible, but not with just basic reused credentials. Now you need a full Microsoft account, which has all these trust protections built in. It's not impossible to hijack, but a lot more riskier, more difficult and annoying. I wouldn't be surprised if huge public servers like Hypixel saw a massive cheater and hacker drop-off right after the migration. And I'm almost 100% confident that it will never get back to levels how it used to be. And just for reference, accounts before the migration were worth maybe 1 to 10 cents per account. I'm no expert in black market stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if the price for a hacked Minecraft, or rather a Microsoft account, is now 100 or 1,000 times higher, multiple dollars or euros for a single account. Which still some cheaters will buy, but for that price you can also almost just buy a new legit Minecraft key. And this automatically makes it less economically viable for scammers, spammers and cheaters. And so from a security perspective for the users, but also for Microsoft or the other companies like Hypixel, this account migration is a very, very impactful decision. You know, some websites require or encourage you to enable two-factor authentication. Guild Wars 2 did this, for example, a while ago. But in terms of numbers, just cutting down the number of abuse and hacks, this account migration is probably the absolute best they could have done. No other policy will ever have this much positive impact on the general account security for Minecraft. And that is not just a false or misleading marketing claim they told you. This is really true. At least I believe so. Anyway, after mining and collecting lots of material, I thought it's maybe time to head into the Nether. With the obsidian from earlier, I created a portal, so let's go. There are two things I want to find in the Nether. Some nether quartz, of course, we need that for redstone stuff, but also netherite or ancient debris, so we can craft netherite and upgrade our armor. So I spent quite some time just digging tunnels and going deeper to look for ancient debris. It's crazy with XRay how easy it is. In a previous survival world, I crafted lots of TNT and did basically strip mining. This is a lot nicer and so much faster. In a pretty short amount of time, I got lots of ancient debris, enough to upgrade my armor and tools. However, I noticed one problem. My XRay hack somehow sometimes doesn't work. Not all chunks are rendered. Probably there's some chunk rendering optimization, and so these chunks are never loaded. Maybe? I'm not sure. But I had a hard time finding my way back to the portal. It's actually funny looking at the recording now. With Replay Mod, I can create these third-person camera recordings, and here I see that the portal was super close. But I just didn't see it with XRay. So I guess my hacks are not perfect either. While looking around trying to find my way back, I stumbled into a big open area. Finally, some open nether and not just tunnels. Really nice. And when I was looking around, I actually noticed a bastion. In the middle there is a nether wart, which would be very good to have and grow for later. Almost got killed by the hoglings, but I managed to escape. Unfortunately, right when I was flying away from it, something bad happened. Something really bad. I flew away very fast and I guess there was a server or network connection hiccup. Somehow my flying hack bypass failed and the server detected me flying. I was disconnected right when I was flying over open lava. Oh no. If I would now log back in, I would start falling. I have a fly hack, yes, but there is a loading screen. I probably would burn to death before I could fly away. Damn, what do I do now? I spent so much time mining ancient debris. Being faced with certain death due to, I guess, a network protocol hiccup, I thought a bit more about the protocol. We also just talked about authentication, so let's explore an attack idea I had since episode 1. For that, let me get my notebook. We are gonna draw some stuff. In the very first episode of the series, we looked at the game packets, but there is more to the protocol. Back then we read that Minecraft encrypts the traffic, but we just brushed over it. This time I want to look at the protocol before the game packets are being sent and received. So that's what I want to have a closer look at now. How does the encryption work? And maybe we can think of some attack ideas. For this we are going to look at the amazing wiki.vg site again. Here's the information about the encryption. So let's visualize this information. We have a client C, so the Minecraft game running on your PC, and a server S running somewhere on the internet and you connect to it. It all starts with a handshake packet sent from the client to the server, followed by a login start packet. I only take notes of the important data. In this case, the login packet contains your username. After that, the server responds with an encryption key request. This packet contains the public key of the server and a random token. So already you can see there is some public-private key cryptography going on. Now, the client will do the authentication with the Mojang server. I guess this changed now a bit with Microsoft accounts, but generally the client sends an HTTP request to Mojang with the login credentials. We will look at this more in depth in a moment. Let's first continue with server and client. So after the client logged into Mojang, the client sends an encryption key response packet. In this packet, the client includes a secret password, but encrypts it with the public key of the server. So here's how I visualize it. The client had received the public key from the server before and uses it to encrypt this secret. It also encrypts the token it previously received from the server. Probably should have written it in green, not blue. Anyway, the server can now decrypt the secret and token with the corresponding private key. It can also check that the token is the same that it sent before, so no shenanigans were going on there. And using the shared secret, the client and server can start sending encrypted packets. They now use AES encryption with the shared secret, so they can both easily encrypt and decrypt packets. So any following packets, so the actual game packets, are now AES encrypted. Now, let's think about different types of attackers. There could be an attacker who can eavesdrop on the network. Maybe you play Minecraft in a public unencrypted Wi-Fi and everybody can record the packets you send. Can this attacker do anything? Well, it sees your username in clear text. It also sees the server public key and the token. But then the client encrypts the AES secret with the public key. Without knowing the private key of the server, somebody just observing the packets will not be able to know the content of the following packets the encryption holds. Now, let's think of a more powerful attacker, an attacker who can not only observe, but even manipulate the traffic. This could be, for example, happen by an active network attacker rerouting your traffic, or more simply, a malicious server. Imagine you join an evil server, and of course you don't know that it's an evil server, you just connect to some IP somebody told you. What could an evil server do? Could maybe the evil server hijack your account or connect and log in with your account to a different server? Let's figure it out. When you join the evil server and send the handshake and your username, the evil server could just forward it to the real server, maybe Hypixel. Now, the real server responds with the public key and the token, but the evil server can now manipulate the traffic. So instead of sending to the client the real server public key, you get the public key from the evil server. So far, so good. You do the Mojang login, then you encrypt the shared secret and token with the public key. And this time the evil server knows the correct private key to decrypt the secret and the token. And then it can just re-encrypt the secret and token with the public key of the real server and forward it to the real server. Now the real server, but also the evil server, know the secret AES key. And theoretically we can now encrypt and decrypt any of the traffic between the client and the real server. Let's say the client is an admin on the real server. Now the evil server could inject a command chat message into the traffic to make me, LiveOverflow, OP on the server. Does that really work? If you join a malicious server, could the server hijack your connection and do that? And also there seems to be another attack possible. How does the server verify your username? Right now we could just send a fake username, right? We could just log in as an admin. We must be missing something. And indeed, there's one important detail we didn't really look at yet. It has to do with the Mojang authentication. God damn it, I should have planned this better and leave enough space. Well, here it goes. During this step, the client calculates a SHA-1 hash where it includes the shared secret and the server public key. The resulting hash is the so-called server hash. And now the client sends this hash to the Mojang server, and this is important. Because on the server side, the server can actually generate the same hash. It knows the secret and its own public key, so it generates the same server hash. But do you see that? The client used the evil server's public key, and the server used its real public key, which means the server hashes don't match. When the server wants to fetch the player information from the Mojang server, it's not there. The player never registered this hash with the server. And this prevents the whole attack. You can continue the thought experiment to verify this. Now we know the server and client need to generate the same hash, which means the client has to receive the real server public key. But that means the evil server cannot decrypt the secret, so the communication is encrypted again and the server cannot do anything. So, is the protocol safe? This is the thing with security research. We just audited the protocol on paper. We can always dig deeper. For example, there could always be implementation bugs. I have not looked at the source code, but for example, we could check what happens if we do not follow this protocol and just start sending packets in a weird order. Maybe that messes up the internal state machine. Maybe the secret is not properly initialized, or we can somehow force the client and server to not turn on encryption. But maybe also the crypto stuff is not perfect. Immediately, I thought about the SHA-1 collision that was found in 2017. This is a very specific finding for SHA-1, and we can now think about if this has any implications for this protocol. We can see that the shatter attack works by crafting a magical collision block. This block is essentially different data, but in the end produces the same hash. So could this be used to somehow get the client and server to produce the same hash, even though the client used the evil public key? No, the shattered attack does not provide us these capabilities. Alright, any other ideas? When I was looking at the AES encryption, I saw that it uses AES CFB8, AES in cipher feedback mode. The 8 means that the cipher feedback operates on 8 bits, so individual bytes. The graphic on Wikipedia is great. Here's how the decryption works. So the server receives encrypted packets, the ciphertext is the encrypted data, so the encrypted bytes. This block, the cipher block, is the AES magical algorithm. We don't need to understand how AES works. All we know is that an encrypted byte is fed into AES. AES then uses the secret key to decrypt it. But it's not quite decrypted yet. Actually, the next ciphertext, so the next encrypted byte, is XORed with the AES result, and only then you get the actual plaintext, the real decrypted byte. Why would you do this? Well, let's think about us as an active attacker. While the packets are encrypted, we can still manipulate the bytes. So let's consider a more basic AES example, AES in ECB mode. It's not good, as you see, encrypting an image with ECB mode. You can still recognize something about the underlying data. The reason for that is that each plaintext block is just simply encrypted, which means the same plaintext bytes produce the same encrypted bytes. Seeing the encrypted bytes doesn't tell you what the plaintext was, but you know it was always the same plaintext. And that might be enough to perform certain crypto attacks. But if you now use something like CFB, then other bytes are included in the encryption and decryption process. So encrypting the same data will always be scrambled with another XOR step. And this kind of obvious correlation attack is not possible anymore. So is Minecraft safe then? There is another problem. CFB allows us to do another kind of attack. Do you see how the encrypted byte is XORed with the output from AES to produce the plaintext byte? This means we as an attacker who can manipulate encrypted bytes, we can actually control the plaintext, at least a bit. You see, let's say we sent a chat message with the letter capital AAA. Looking into the protocol, we can see that a chat message packet is simply sending that string. So we, the attacker, know that the plaintext byte will be a capital A. And because we see the encrypted data, we also know the value of the ciphertext. The encrypted byte XORed with the data from AES produces the A. This means we can carefully change the ciphertext so the XOR produces a plaintext we want. For example, if we would want to turn the capital A into a capital X, we can just calculate A XOR X. The result is hex 19. So if we XOR the encrypted byte with hex 19, it will cause the plaintext to become an X. And yes, this is not theoretical, this works. Here is a proof of concept. I took the first simple TCP proxy written in C that I could find. So when we connect to this local IP, the proxy will forward the packets to the real server. This proxy cannot see the traffic, it's encrypted as we know, but it can see the size of each packet it forwards between the client and real server. So for this test setup, I went very high up in the world to keep the network traffic minimal, and then I sent a long chat message. As you can see, it's very clear which of the data was our chat message. So here I added a simple if case. If the proxy sees a packet with the specific size, then it modifies the 124th byte by XORing it with hex 19. And we can try that. Here I have the real server console open and we can send our chat message AAA. And look at that. The proxy detected the chat message, modified the encrypted byte, and the server received the plaintext AAAX. As you can see, even though the traffic is encrypted, we managed to manipulate the traffic. Now, due to the CFB mode, the manipulated ciphertext is now fed into AES and now the server reads complete garbage. The packets sent by the client make no sense anymore and eventually the client is disconnected. That sucks, but whatever, the manipulation of traffic worked. So here's how a real attack could look like. An attacker registers a Minecraft account with a name similar to an admin on a target server. Let's say the admin is called some other admin and we create an account with the name some other admin X. Then we lure a victim with OP permissions to join our malicious server. And then we somehow get the admin to re-opt the some other admin. But because this player is connected to our malicious proxy, we can flip the last character and the server now thinks the command was OP some other admin X. We got OP on the real server. Okay, should I report this to Mojang? I asked you on Twitter. Let's say I found a vulnerability. Software used by millions of people, exploitable only by an active network attacker, man in the middle, requires a specific action by the victim through social engineering or sheer luck. It's single chance, cannot be executed repeatedly, we get disconnected. The impact is elevated privileges, but to be honest, likely won't fix. Should I report it because it's a vuln or not because no real impact? To be honest, the attack is rather impractical and it's a pretty basic attack against AES, so somebody else must have already reported it before. This must be a duplicate. So personally, I would have not reported it to Minecraft, nobody can really use it. But because I wanted to make a video about it, it's an awesome example to learn about crypto attacks, so probably I should report it, just in case. So that's what I did. On the 18th of March, I submitted my report to Mojang Bug Tracker, known plaintext attack on AES CFB8 encrypted packets. So let's see what response I will get. Maybe when the video is out, you already know everything about it. Maybe the report will be public by then. If not, I will update you on what happened in an upcoming episode of Minecraft Hacked. Anyway, I almost forgot about our lava problem. How do we get out of it? Maybe we just hope that the loading screen won't stay up for long and we can fly away before we die? Let's see. Login. Oh, what the heck? I'm back at the portal? How? Oh my god, he saved me. He teleported me over. But I don't trust him. Let's get out of here. Oh my god, feels good to be back home in safety. So yeah, see you next episode.